What's up, everybody? Time for some more rSpace. Am I the a-hole for overruling my wife on a matter concerning our daughter? I, 42 male, and my wife, 38 female, have a daughter, 14, who is friends with the son, 13, of an acquaintance of mine. Because my daughter and her friend are different genders, my wife insists on always supervising their playdates. Our daughter can't go to his house. He has to come here. She always watches the kids when they're together and doesn't let our daughter close the door when they're in her room. To be honest, I always thought my wife was being fairly reasonable until this incident. Kids are kids, and they're nearing the complicated age, so I always backed my wife up, even when my daughter begged to be allowed to her friend's house. Recently, my wife was watching the kids while I was at work and realized she needed some things from the store. She made the children go with her so they wouldn't be alone. Apparently, I'm obviously getting all of this info secondhand. The kids wandered off while she was shopping. While they were alone, an employee approached my daughter's friend and accused him of stealing something. My daughter's friend turned out his jacket pockets, and there was nothing in there but his phone and keys. The employee demanded my daughter's friend remove his jacket because she thought something was hidden under the jacket. My daughter's friend refused and said he didn't steal anything. My daughter called for my wife, and she showed up pretty quickly. My wife sided with the employee and asked my daughter's friend to remove the jacket. When he did, the employee saw the necklace he was wearing and demanded he take it off so she could inspect it to see if it was merchandise from the store. I've seen him wearing this necklace before, for the record. At this point, he ran out of the store into the cold, not wearing a jacket, and called his grandfather to come pick him up. I was at work when my acquaintance called me, furious. He said his son was half frozen when his dad got to him, which I believe because it's very cold here right now, and that my wife profiled his son. He told me that his son won't be going over to my house ever again. Edit. My daughter wants me to add this. She, unlike me, knows how to use Reddit properly and edit posts. Her friend is mixed race. His father was Indian. Like India, not Native American. A lot of people asked and I didn't know, so hopefully they see this. Edit 2. My wife texted me that there was an emergency and I needed to call her, so I stepped out of the theater and did so. Guess what? No emergency. No surprise either. She told me I had no right to separate her from her daughter on Christmas. I said it was her choice and confronted her about what my daughter said at breakfast, especially about the food thing. She started crying and said that I had no idea what that boy put her through. I hung up. F this, it's Christmas. I'm watching Home Alone with my daughter. Edit 3. My daughter said this comment needs to be in the post itself. Yeah, the paying attention to the movie didn't last. She's become really intrigued by all the comments and has been on my phone for the last 20 minutes. I'm pasting it in. She showed me how. So my daughter and I are at the movies right now. After breakfast, she said she didn't want to go home, so we're going to go to the Christmas movie marathon at the local theater. She went to get snacks. I handed her $30 so she would come back with a small tub of popcorn. Damn those concession prices. So I'm going to tell you guys some of what happened at breakfast. It was a lot, so apologies if some stuff seems rushed over. Ask for clarification if you like. My wife is blowing up my phone right now, but I don't want to talk to her. This wasn't the first time something like this happened, just the first time it happened in public. Here's some of the things my daughter told me my wife did that they kept quiet about for fear of not being allowed to hang out anymore. I know, I'm a piece of crap. I understand that now. I hate myself. My wife screamed at this kid for giving my daughter a gymnastics lesson. He's on a gymnastics team. They weren't doing anything dangerous. She made them stop and called him a pervert. I know. She screamed at them for playing with makeup. It belonged to my daughter and was a gift from my sister. I don't think it was expensive stuff. Even if it was though, who cares? She made him wash his face and go home. He told his grandfather he had a stomachache that day apparently. She told him he eats too much food at our house. This is the worst one for me. I was mad when she told me that. So yeah, learn some stuff about my wife. It's clear to me now that I haven't been an active member of my marriage in a long time. This was hard to learn. The hardest part was knowing that my daughter didn't trust me with any of this because she assumed I would side with her mom. I let my daughter read this thread. She wanted to know what maybe changed my perspective, so I told her. She wanted to read the comments people made. I was hesitant because of the foul language, but she's 14. She's not a baby, and I know she hears just as bad at school. We got to talking about the lesbians' comments. She asked me what I would think of that. I told her I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. She said she might be bi, but wasn't sure. I cried a little bit because I made her feel like she couldn't tell me that. And honestly, I'm even more ashamed of that than all the stuff with my wife, as twisted as that is. My wife and daughter haven't been getting along for a while. A lot of it centers around this friend, but there's more to it. My wife and daughter view the world in fundamentally different ways. Edit 4. I asked my daughter to stop reading the stuff on this post. Obviously now that she's seen it, she can just go on Reddit on her own phone and find it again. But trust has to start somewhere, right? We gave up on the Christmas marathon. We were both too upset to sit still and watch a movie. I took her to my sister's and then went home to talk to my wife. I needed to get some things straightened out with her before I took my daughter home. It didn't go well. My wife apologized when I got home. She was crying. She said the holidays were so stressful and that she had a bit of a breakdown. She begged me to go get our daughter and bring her home. I said I would once we talked. She kept sobbing, so I went and got her some water. I said we could talk or I could leave, but I wasn't going to get our daughter until we talked. Eventually, she stopped crying and talked to me. She fessed up to the gymnastics incident and said my daughter's friend touched her inner thigh. My daughter never mentioned this part. I asked my wife why she never told me this, but she didn't give me a straight answer. The makeup incident, she said, was because she wanted our daughter to wear that makeup to a certain event and was mad she wasted it. Also, that sharing makeup is like sharing soap and unsanitary. I didn't know this. Again, I don't feel this justifies her reaction. Also, my wife didn't buy the makeup, so I don't think she has the right to get mad about the waste. The food thing, she said, was misconstrued. She said he took a larger than necessary portion and didn't eat all of it. She told him to take a smaller initial portion next time. We had the same problem with our son when he was a teenager, so I believe this, and I'm glad she wasn't trying to keep the poor kid from eating. I told her I want to go to family therapy, and she agreed. I'm sitting in the living room right now, calming down before I go back to my sister's to get my daughter. This was extremely emotionally draining. What a way to spend Christmas morning. Edit 5. My daughter refused to go home. I feel like forcing her would destroy our relationship for good, so we've just kind of been hanging out at my sister's. My sister left to get ready for her holiday plans, so we've just been talking. The reason I'm updating this is because what she said freaked me out. So I need some advice before I say the wrong thing and alienate her for good. Because this is all uncharted for me, my wife has been calling constantly, but I've been ignoring her. I know it's wrong, but she'll react even worse than me, so I just can't talk to her right now. I asked my daughter if she has feelings for her friend. She said she didn't know. She told me that their friendship is more important than that. I legitimately do not understand what this means, so I just nodded. She said he's the only one who understands her. She also said that she loves learning gymnastics from him, that it makes her feel good, like her body is something beautiful instead of just a burden. I have no idea how to interpret that. She also said that, in addition to the makeup, they sometimes, I don't know how they managed this without my wife noticing, because she would have lost it, wear each other's clothes. She said she likes wearing boy clothes and likes seeing him in her dresses and skirts. Again, I just nodded and thanked her for telling me. I don't know what to say. Help! First response from Yellow Stop. Since when do 14-year-olds have play dates? By 14 years old, there are no play dates, there are hangouts. OP replies, that's what my mother always called them, and that's what my wife and I call them. Maybe it's a regional thing? Honestly, I don't see how that's relevant to whether or not I'm the a-hole here. It's just terminology, right? The Miller Show chimes in. It's relevant in the sense that it's just another piece of evidence that you guys treat your 14-year-old like she's 5. DOP replies, I don't know if this makes me look better or worse, but the supervision rule was only for this friend because he's a boy and because our daughter is 14 and getting to the experimental phase, we don't have the supervision rule for her female friends. Ashamed Topic 8280 chimes in. I mean, all of the hangout stuff aside, your wife clearly threw this kid under the bus at the store because she didn't like him. Pretty effed up, honestly. Poor dude. OP replies, well, turns out this is exactly the case. I wanted to talk to my daughter, but obviously she's still asleep. So I went upstairs. I've been hiding in the living room because of the whole my wife not speaking to me thing. My wife was still awake, and all of your comments were fresh on my mind, so I asked her some questions. I said, point blank, do you not trust our daughter? Obviously, she was furious, and she said that she did. She said it's teenage boys that she doesn't trust, and asked me if I remember what I was like as a teenager. I asked her if this boy has ever given her a reason not to trust him. Well, she exploded. She said a lot, but one thing really struck with me. She said, just because, acquaintance name, wanted to take in a street urchin for the novelty of it all shouldn't mean it's our problem. I never wanted them to spend time together, but you insisted on compromising, even though we are supposed to be the parents. We gave an inch. Now look, they've gone and taken a mile. I was floored. I never knew she felt that way. Now I'm scared that there may have been other instances before this I never heard about because they weren't as bad. It's clear to me now that she hates this kid. When my daughter wakes up, I'm taking her out for breakfast. She and her mom need to not be around each other right now, and we are going to have a long talk that will probably include some groveling from me. Holy crap, I can't believe I was so checked out of my marriage I had no idea my wife literally hates our daughter's best friend. Chai by Starship says, I saw that in another comment you said he doesn't look white, so your wife doesn't like him, doesn't want him to spend time with your daughter, automatically assumed he would steal, and calls him a street urchin? Sorry OP, your wife is a freaking racist. Die Harder chimes in, do you really think we did such a bad job raising our daughter you need to worry about her doing whatever it is you think she's going to do? What do you think we did wrong? And what do you think we need to change so we can turn her into someone we can trust? It's weird how some people always worry their kid is going to do something, but they are never bothering to change how they raise them to not be a person who would do it. They never seem to want to put the effort in on that part, but find endless time and effort to micromanaging or whatever you want to call it. They act like it's inevitable and want no plan to try to stop it, other than watching and restricting them. Next up, am I the a-hole for being mad at an awful gift my husband gave me? Okay, so this is annoying me. Please bear with me. First time posting it on a mobile. By accident, I found a package and opened it as I was wrapping the kid's gift. A package had gone missing my husband had ordered and had been for my Christmas. Now in that closet, I keep a bunch of unopened packages my mom sends to my kids and then open them the day I wrap them. Anyway, I open this package and it is obvious it's not for the kids. It's a self-help book, 12 rules to whatever. I'm like, what the heck? The guy who wrote it is a psychologist, who is a misogynist, right-wing nutjob, who my husband likes and kind of falls in line with his own way of thinking. Yes, this is an issue, as I'm rather left-wing, I guess. Anyway, so I tell him I found this package and accidentally opened it, and he loses it, saying how his name was on it and it had gone missing. At this point, I'm like, wait, no. The only package gone missing was his Xmas gift to me. So this was what he thought was a thoughtful gift for Christmas? Basically telling me I'm a crap human being, and I need to change, and this book will help. And he can't understand why I'm so pissed and was crying all night and most of the day. Am I wrong? This is not a gift you give on a holiday. This is expensive toilet paper in my opinion. I'm humiliated and embarrassed and hurt. Like I was so excited that he thought of me in advance and it wasn't a last-minute Walmart gift. I'm so upset. But am I the a-hole for not appreciating this thoughtful gift he got me? Update, and a bit more info. 1. Yes, in fact he did say it was my gift. And yes, he said to help me change. 2. When we met, he was not like this, or at least it was never apparent. It slowly became more of a thing, then hit overdrive when he started watching Throw Guy. 3. I actually have in fact listened to him speak and find him intolerable, for many reasons. All this said, after realizing he somehow effed up, at least to my point of view, he actually went out and got me some movies I wanted to see that we couldn't because of COVID. A couple of Xbox gift cards to buy a game, and an Uno type game, because I like that kind of stuff. So he made an attempt to make me feel better and happier, and not be as much of an ass, even if he still can't understand why I'm upset. For those who keep saying I should just be happy I got a gift, I'd have been happier without it. Thank you everyone for your judgment. For clarity, I never bought him love languages. I owned it and asked him to read it with me once and let it go after he said no. Also, to respond to everyone hung up on my crying. Holidays are stressful as is. I had not slept almost at all for 2 days. Emotions were high and I was also responding to his yelling at me for opening a package by mistake. So yes, I'm childish, but honestly, I also don't feel it was over the top of a reaction either. I'm human and my feelings were hurt. Also, I never at first mentioned the author by name, so it was not me trying to start a huge debate about the guy or be bait or whatever. It was about, am I justified to be upset about a self-help book as a gift? That's the yes, I'm the a-hole, or no, it's not about my remarks on the writer. And lastly, it was not a quick Google search of him that I based my opinions off of. It was diving down a rabbit hole for hours and feeling gross after the fact. But fine, I'm a chaos dragon, I accept that. First judgment from Actual Lobster, not the a-hole. I have a feeling it's J blank P blank, lol. This guy says that anyone who has the executive function disorder that I have just needs to get their life together. What a joke. Ignoring the author, which is hard because F him, getting your significant other a self-help book for Christmas? Honey, I think you have several flaws which annoy me, and I think this book by an author you openly dislike might help you become more tolerable for me. Merry Christmas! Yikes. Next up, I'm probably at work 11 says, not the a-hole. I would have rather gotten no gift than a gift like that. It seems obvious to me that he doesn't care to get you a gift that you would like. Green Hedgehog 2 thinks, not the a-hole. You know what, I came in here fully expecting to say you were the a-hole, as it's the thought that counts, but after reading this, F that. That's the gift equivalent of a backhanded compliment. Oh hey, here, the gift, but it's just to let you know I think you're a problem. Nah, F him, he's the a-hole. Happy Banana 134 chimes in, not the a-hole. That's a passive-aggressive gift, and I'd be really upset too. Our last comment comes from Granny Wine, not the a-hole. I've been given some unbelievably strange gifts from my significant other, like 2 identical teapots in different colors, and one, I kid you not, velvet painting of Groot, but never had one that says how to better yourself to serve me.